Did you know that approximately 25% of people with high-functioning depression go undiagnosed? They often appear to be functioning normally in their daily lives, excelling at work or school, but internally struggle with persistent feelings of sadness, fatigue, and hopelessness. So what is high-functioning depression, and how do you know if you're affected? I'm going to call it HFD. It's also known as persistent depressive disorder or dysthymia. It's often the invisible kind of depression, the one that nobody talks about, the one that goes unnoticed. On the outside, people appear to be successful, accomplished, and all put together. They're the ones who seem to have it all under control, but little do you know, they're secretly struggling to keep their head above water. One of the biggest challenges in recognizing high-functioning depression is that it's often overshadowed by the stigma surrounding mental health. Many people think that if you have depression, you're weak or unable to cope, but that's far from the truth. High-functioning depression can affect anyone, regardless of their background, socioeconomic status, or level of success. Trust me, I've worked with people from all walks of life, and no one is immune. Still, sadly, this misconception can lead people to hide their symptoms, fearing that they'll be judged or labeled as flawed. This leads to another challenge in detecting HFD. Even for those closest to the individual, it's easy to mistake HFD for burnout, anxiety, or overwhelm, but a high-functioning depression can masquerade as productivity, busyness, or a never-ending to-do list. It's the ability to put a mask of normalcy, all while secretly feeling like you're drowning in a sea of emotions. Many people also assume that depression means being sad all the time, but HFD can show up in many different ways. One sign is how HFD can manifest as constant anxiety that grips you the moment you wake up, or anxiety that makes you feel an overwhelming sense of responsibility that weighs heavily on your shoulders. Another sign can be the feeling of being stuck in a rut. It's the daily grind that feels like Groundhog Day, and you drag yourself through it day in and day out, but you feel the grind. This links to the next sign, the pressure to keep up appearances, so you can maintain the facade of perfection, all while secretly feeling like you're crumbling from the inside out. And one of the most significant symptoms of high-functioning depression is the constant need for control. It's the illusion that if you can just control every aspect of your life, you'll be able to keep depression at bay. But the reality is that control is just an illusion, and eventually it becomes exhausting. It's the endless cycle of planning, preparing, and rehearsing, all in an attempt to avoid the unknown. Another symptom is the inability to relax, to truly unwind and let go. It's the feeling that there's always something to be done, something to be achieved, and that relaxation is a luxury you can't afford. But let me remind you, relaxation shouldn't be the luxury it seems to have become. It's a necessity. It's how you can find peace and happiness in the midst of chaos. The most insidious symptom of high-functioning depression, though, is the gradual erosion of your sense of self-worth. It's the constant criticism, the endless self-doubt, and the feeling that you're just not good enough. But we are all enough, because worth shouldn't be defined by achievements, accomplishments, or successes. Our worth is inherent, and it's worth fighting for. Acknowledging and addressing high-functioning depression is the only way you can start to recover. Remember, it's okay to admit that we're struggling and that we're not perfect, because otherwise you may as well aim to find a unicorn, because perfection is just as real as one of those. It's okay to take a step back, to reevaluate our priorities, and to focus on healing. So know that you're not alone, and that it's okay to seek help. Thanks so much for watching. If you've experienced high-functioning depression or know someone who has, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Don't forget to check out this video about the lies depression tells us. I'll see you there.